Wouldn't you know, it is the second book of a series. Hello, mortals. I am the booktube goddess, the #1 drag queen booktuber on YouTube. It's that time again for another game of Shelve It or Shove It. That's the completely superficial game where I pick books for my TBR based solely on their covers. Now I'll be looking at the new releases for January to put on my February TBR. I don't know how many books we're going to pick for February. It's going to be 2 or 3, but we shall see. So let's get on to Shelve It or Shove It. Once again, I'm going to start with young adult. The first book in this category is One of Us Is Next by Karen McManus. This is the sequel to One of Us Is Lying. So I don't think I'm into the sequel. The cover doesn't look that interesting anyway. No great loss. I'm going to shove it. Next up is A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer. Kemmerer? What a name. There is a little blurb on this that says, absolutely spellbinding by Stephen Garber, who's another author I haven't heard of. This is a New York Times bestseller. It's giving me a Court of Thorn and Roses vibe. My guess is it's a traditional fairy tale. It's okay, but I'm going to shove it. The next book up is Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera, another New York Times bestselling author. Surprise, Infinity Sun. And this is a cool cover. There's an infinity symbol that's a bird. It looks like an eagle or phoenix or something. Who will live forever and who will die trying? I'm going to shelve it. This one looks pretty cool. The next book up is The Night Country by Melissa Albert, a Hazelwood novel. Since it says Hazelwood novel, this is some part of a series. I'm going to shove it based on that, but the cover does kind of look interesting. I like all the little illustrations that's going around in Open Door, so I wonder if it's a portal fantasy, which I do like portal fantasies, but shoving it just on the basis that this is a series. The next book is The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson, a truly devious novel. If you look for murder, murder may find you. So, what is this? So it looks like the hands of a clock. One of the hands looks like it may be tipped with blood. It's kind of interesting, but it's not interesting enough for me to pick it just by the cover. I don't know what it's about at all. So I'm going to shove it. Now we're going to go on to children's books. Once again, I just try to read middle grade books in this category. And the first one up is Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. And it's a Rick Riordan series, which I've seen a lot in this category. A Rick Riordan Presents. I guess he has his own imprint now. I don't know if he actually curates these middle grade books. But with a name like that, American Indian author, maybe. The cover looks a little cartoony. I'm not actually very impressed by the cover, so I think I'm going to shove it. The next book up is Martin McLean, Middle School Queen. Oh, Be Still My Heart. I think this is about a middle school drag queen. That's what the cover is looking like. It's by Alyssa Zak, I think. Well, I'm going to have to shelve a book about a middle school drag queen. At least I hope it's about a middle school drag queen. But this one is giving me a little bit of a thrill. The next book up is Sunnyside Plaza by Scott Simon. I think this is a picture book. Kindness Starts From Within. I'm going to shove it. Next book up looks like another picture book. Fred's Big Feeling, The Life and Legacy of Mr. Rogers by Laura Renaud and illustrated by Bridget Berriger. I have a very soft spot for Mr. Rogers, and I really want to see that Tom Hanks movie. I haven't seen it yet. but I don't think I'm into the picture book. So shove it. So has everyone grown up with Mr. Rogers? I know I have. Next book up looks like another picture book, Just Like a Mama, Alice Faye Duncan and Charnel Pinckney Barlow. Again, picture book, not interested, shove it. Now let's go into science fiction. First book is Followers, a novel by Megan Argello. Some things aren't meant to be shared. I don't know. Are they talking about like Instagram followers or like an influencer maybe? Or are they talking about cloning? I don't know. The cover's kind of pretty though. I'm going to shove it. Next up is The God Game by Danny Toby. The cover is giving me nothing. I'm going to shove it. Next up is Agency by William Gibson, and I am a big William Gibson fan. The cover looks kind of ugly. Well, wait a minute. The more I look at it, I get it. It has that circle in the center like it's a computer or screen pausing or loading, and a blurry face of a black woman. I'm going to shelve it, just on the basis that it's William Gibson, an author I like. I haven't heard of this at all. I didn't realize he was still writing, frankly. But I am intrigued, so I am shelving it. Next up is The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. Cover's not giving me anything. Going to shove it. The next up is A Beginning at the End by Mike Chen. How do you start over after the end of the world? And there's a little blurb, not just an apocalyptic thriller, but also a timely reminder of what is most important in life, family, love, and hope. Well, I guess you can't argue with that, but I actually like the cover a lot because I live in San Francisco or the San Francisco area, and there is a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm going to shelve it. I'm a little leery of starting a post-apocalypse novel. I don't know if I'm in the mood for that, but the cover is interesting, and it's San Francisco, so shelving it. And finally, we're going to move on into fantasy. First up is A Longer Fall by Charlaine Harris. And she's the author of True Blood, and that's the only thing I ever read of hers was her first True Blood novel, or Sookie Stackhouse novel, simply because I liked the HBO series a lot, so I picked up the novel, which was kind of meh for me. The cover is pretty. It's kind of intriguing. Is this astrology? No, it looks like elemental symbols, or is that astrology symbols? I think it's alchemy symbols of a woman. And it says, alluringly gritty time, a gripping, twisty, turny thrill of a read. This is hard because I'm not crazy about this author, but I've only read one thing and I kind of would like to give her another chance. And the cover looks interesting to me. So I'm going to shelve it. Next up is High Fire, a novel by, Owen Colfer, author of the Artemis Fowl novels. Now, I do like Artemis Fowl. They were sort of a fun middle grade fairy novel about a boy genius. I have no idea what this is about. There are three, looks like claw marks in grass. So this cover isn't giving me much. The only reason why I would get it is because I'd be curious about Colfer's first, I don't know if this is his first, about Colfer's adult novel. Heck, I did Charlaine Harris. I'll do this one too. I'm going to shelve it. Next up, A Queen in Hiding by Sarah Kozlov. A deft and exciting beginning to what I am sure will be a really gorgeous saga. It's a series by Melanie Ron. Oh, actually, I like Melanie Ron. The cover's pretty. Nothing stays hidden from destiny. I'm going to shove it simply because I have a feeling this may be the first of a series, and I'd rather wait till more of them are out. Next up is Riot Baby by Tochi Onibachi. Anya Bachi. Apologies for messing up the author's name. It sounds familiar, though. I mean, the name looks familiar. Maybe another booktuber talked about it. I don't think I've read anything by this person. Riot Baby bursts at the seams of story with fire, passion, and power. And there is an attractive, it's like black person. Riot Baby. Is this a play on Tar Baby? Baby? I don't know. I'm going to shove it. I have too many questions. I wish I would. If I would have turned it over and actually read the blurb, it might be different, but that's not what this game is. And finally, a Shannon McGuire novel, Come Tumbling Down. Hugo and award-winning series. Now, again, I'm going to shove it because I don't want to start a new series. The cover is pretty. It looks more science fiction than fantasy. And the only thing I've read by Shannon McGuire is Middle Game, and that one seemed to cross a lot of genres. It seemed to be like part fantasy, part horror, part science fiction. It could be, I don't know about this particular novel, but if it's anything like Middle Game, it could cross more than one genre. So what have I picked? I have picked one young adult, Infinity Sun. I have picked one middle grade novel, Martin McLean, Middle School Queen. And science fiction, I picked the William Gibson Agency and the Mike Chen, A Beginning at the End. And in fantasy, I have picked Charlene Harris's A Longer Fall and Eoin Colfer, High Fire. I think right away I'm going to say no to the fantasies, the Harris and Colfer books, because I want to read William Gibson's The Agency. I'm just in a William Gibson mood. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. And I'm definitely going to pick Martin McLean, Middle School Queen, because hello. So the only question is, am I going to do Adam Silvera's novel Infinity Sun? Do I want 3 books or 2 books? Well, assuming the middle grade isn't that much of a read, I'm going to go ahead and pick the young adult as well. So the 3 books are Infinity Sun, Martin McLean, and the William Gibson Agency. So 3 novels. It looks like there's a fantasy and romance. Okay, I'm not going to look. Okay, the first book I picked was Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. Don't know this author, but the blurb says, growing up in New York, brothers Emil and Brian always idolized the Spellwalkers, a vigilante group sworn to rid the world of specters. While the Spellwalkers and other Celestials are born with powers, specters take them, violently stealing them. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, I have a feeling this may be a Mortal Instruments type of book. And I don't know how I feel about that. I'll read it and let you know. Next up is the middle grade, Martin McLean, Middle School Queen by Alyssa Zek. In this bright-hearted middle grade debut novel like that, Martin McLean struggles to find his voice and his inner diva as he navigates friendship, family, first crushes, and a whole lot of glitter. So I'm excited. And finally, I picked Agency by William Gibson, and wouldn't you know, it is the second book of a series. Okay, I'm going to go to the first book in the series. The first book is called The Peripheral. New York Times bestselling author. Yes, I know all that. Flynn Fisher lives down a country road in a rural, near-future America where jobs are scarce unless you count illegal drug manufacture, which she's trying to avoid. Her brother Burton, lives or tries to on money from the Veterans Administration. Oh goodness, what are we looking at? This looks like a dystopian novel. Okay, well, it's a William Gibson, so we're going to be dealing with virtual worlds and near future dystopia. Suddenly I'm not so excited about reading this, but we shall see. I will read The Peripheral, the first novel in the series. If any of you have read it, please comment below and let me know what I'm getting myself into. So that's it for this month's Shelve It or Shove It. Quick update for last month. I had picked 2 books. One of the books, Down Among the Dead by KB Wagers, was the second book in a series. So I picked up the first book in a series instead, called There Before the Chaos, but I immediately DNF'd it. Not because it was bad, the writing seemed pretty decent, but the first chapter had an enormous info dump which confused me until I realized it was actually a recap. At first I thought I was reading the second book, but then I figured out this entire trilogy was the sequel to another trilogy called the Indranin War series. So maybe I'll come back to it. I don't know. If you've read the Indranin War trilogy, let me know if it's worth it. The other book I picked was the third book in the Brian McClellan's new trilogy, Gods of Powder and Blood, which is a sequel to his first trilogy, the Powder Mage series, which I had already read. I'm currently on the second book of this new series and am loving it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That really does help. And please subscribe if you haven't and hit that notification bell. Until next time, may all the books you read be blessed.